It's Friday, September 17th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. The management of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital implements new staff initiatives amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Word of this from QEH Executive Chairman Juliet Bino Sutherland. She said alternative measures agreed to by the board came on the heels of what she described as the implementation of a disruptive screening process for staff on Wednesday at the entrance of the hospital, which resulted in long lines.
The third wave of the pandemic has the potential to seriously impact the patient and staff of our lone tertiary institution. Our management team has been exploring a number of initiatives to keep the hospital from being overwhelmed by COVID outbreaks. One attempt was initiated yesterday with poor outcomes as seen from the video circulated. Long lines were experienced trying to enter the facility by having staff go through a questionnaire. The board met last night and evaluated the initiative and determined that it was too disruptive. We have immediately discontinued the initiative and recommended that alternative measures be implemented at the department level to ensure staff do not start work unwell or do notify us of high-risk contacts at home or in the community. It should not be so stressful to enter the work premises. We are indeed sorry for the inconvenience experienced by staff, and we will remain focused on our goal of keeping the hospital safe for patients, staff, and our visitors.
It's been a week since health authorities rolled out a roving mass COVID-19 vaccinations, and officials are reporting that the initiative has been working well and will continue in earnest. Co-coordinator of the National Vaccination Program, Major David Clark, spoke with Barbados Today.
I think we are getting people that we would not have normally got unless we had gone to those communities. So the numbers are slowly creeping up. Of course, we would like more people to come to the fixed sites as well, but we are slowly getting there.
The Oistins Bay Garden reopens today for its weekly Friday fish fry, a week after the popular spot was closed due to COVID-19 positive cases. Its chairman, Kima Harris, announced on Thursday that all personnel at the Bay Garden were tested this week for the virus and returned negative results. He said to his knowledge, 4 people from one kiosk had tested positive for COVID-19, which led to the shutdown. Harris also disclosed that there were 32 kiosks at the Bay Garden and estimated that around 95% of their owners were fully vaccinated.
Over the last week or so, we would have had an event that took place here that basically on an act of caution, because we had a couple cases, to name the amount that were identified to us were 4. And basically as a precautionary measure, the Ministry of Health would have advised the National Conservation Commission to close the compound temporarily. However, since the compound was closed, all persons that occupy kiosks at the Bay Garden was advised and instructed that they had to take a PCR test before coming back to work. On Tuesday, the personnel from the Oistins Bay Garden, we had our COVID test, and it's safe to say that all the persons that took the test in Oistins Bay Garden, all of them are negative.
Countries are being urged to bring parents, children, and adolescents to the table of COVID-19 discussions. It's coming from the director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Carissa Etienne. The PAO head explained that at the beginning of the pandemic, the virus was having a disproportionate impact on the elderly, and as a result, too many children and young people still do not think they are at risk. This mindset, Dr. Etienne said, must change.
It is important that children and teens understand their risk of getting sick and the role that they play in preventing COVID-19 transmission. Countries need to develop communication campaigns that are specifically directed for children and adolescents and that bring their needs and their resources available to them in focus, listening to their concerns and their parents' needs, and using language that they understand in platforms that they like TV and social media, platforms that resonate with them. Today, children and teens across our region are at risk of becoming the generation that missed out on the health, education, and social opportunities that they needed to reach their fullest potential. But it's not too late to address this. Countries must act urgently now to restore health, education, and social services to minimize the impact of this pandemic so no child or teen is left behind, because their future is ours too.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, a new government has been elected to govern in the Bahamas. Prime Minister-elect Philip Davis and his Progressive Liberal Party were victorious in Thursday's general election, defeating incumbent leader Dr. Hubert Minnis and his Free National Movement. Speaking to supporters following his party's victory, Davis pledged to work on behalf of all Bahamians.
You voted with hearts full of hope for our country. You voted for a new day, new beginning. We are a nation and a people yearning for renewal. It is time to face our challenges and face them head on. We'll do so with humility, but also with determination. We'll work so that opportunities reach out to every home, because we believe in the dignity of every member of our Bahamian family. To those who voted PLP today, I promise to work hard to justify your faith in us. For those of you who voted for a different party today, I pledge to work hard to overcome your doubts. Many of you didn't vote at all today because the snap election took you by surprise and you weren't able to register on time, or because transferring from one constituency to another was deliberately made too difficult for you. Many of you didn't vote today because you were afraid of being exposed to the virus. The protocols for protecting voters were only published at the last minute. It is the first time in our modern history that a government has worked to disenfranchise voters and suppress turnout. But I want to say tonight, whether you voted PLP or for the other party, whether you came out to vote or you weren't able to vote, our government will serve all Bahamians.
And finally, the temporary reduction in carbon emissions caused by global COVID-19 lockdowns did not slow the relentless advance of climate change. That's according to a multi-agency climate report published on Thursday, which warned that greenhouse gas concentrations are at record levels and the planet is on a path towards a dangerous overheating. Speaking to reporters in Geneva following the release of the report, Secretary General of the World Meteorological Organization, Petri Dallas, said countries were nowhere close to the targets set by the Paris Agreement.
Last year we estimated that there was 5.6% drop in emissions, and since the lifetime of carbon dioxide is so long, this 1 year's anomaly in emissions doesn't change the big picture. We saw some improvements in air quality. These short-lived gases which are affecting air quality, we saw positive evolution there, but now we have returned more or less back to the 2019 emission levels. That we are not yet on track towards the Paris 1.5 to 2 degrees limits, although positive things have started to happen. And the political interest to mitigate climate change is clearly growing, but to be successful in this effort, we have to start acting now. We cannot wait for decades to act. We have to start acting already during this decade. Now we are heading towards 2 to 3 degrees warming instead of 1.5 to 2 degrees, and it has been shown clearly that it will be beneficial for the welfare of us human beings and the welfare of the biosphere and the planet to reach even the low limit of the Paris Agreement 1.5 degrees.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.